Okay, so frankly, I think the majority of people that are talked to in this video are probably women. We're talking about if you are actually in an abusive situation. This kind of stemmed from the sexless marriage videos, but there were some people that reached out from the original video that were in an abusive situation. And so we felt like this is something we really should address.
I had a lot of back and forth with one woman in particular who actually ended up sending me a private message. She left the abusive situation.
Good.
So I was really
for
happy for her. But I want to address the misnomer that men significantly abuse women more than women.
No, that is true.
It's 58 to 42% with underreporting on both sides.
Yeah.
I personally believe it's pretty close to 50-50.
I think it is.
Because what's more shameful, to be abused by your husband or to be abused by your wife? I think men would
tend to internalize that, and it's more shameful to them. Some women wear it as a badge of honor, but that's like a whole other story.
No, we don't want to get into that.
No, that's like a whole.
Here's how much abuse is acceptable. I think we should outline how many times you should allow yourself to be beaten, punched, thrown downstairs. And the answer is 0. So the first time it happened should be the last time.
Now, we may not always be talking about physical abuse either.
Oh, we got the whole emotional
side,
the financial,
that one too. Those things are shown to be just as bad, if not worse, damaging wise, to a person's mental health. So if you are being abused in some way, you need to find your supports. Go back and look at the last video on, if you decide you're done and you want out.
Yeah.
Those are some steps you're going to follow, but there's some extra stuff that you need to think about if you're in an abusive situation.
Bug out bag.
Bug out bag. Things tend to escalate when your partner knows that you want out, depending on the type of abuse, right? So you want to have some kind of a bug out bag, especially if there's a physical danger. Phone chargers, maybe a backup phone. Any medications have some extras. Cash, if your partner controls the finances.
Cash is king.
It's more difficult to get cash if they're, controlling the finances, but it's not impossible. You just kind of have to be a little bit creative with it. And
do not be so proud as to ask your family for help if they're part of your support network.
Right.
So
you want to have clothes. I'm sorry. Kind of hit on those. You want to have clothes. You want to have important papers like copies of driver's licenses or whatever. You may not be able
copies
to
of the kids' paperwork.
All of the above for kids as well. If they're young enough to need diapers, you want to have a few diapers and some formula and stuff like that. So those are the kinds of things that you want to have for a bug out bag. Don't keep it in the house. Keep it in your car. Keep it at a neighbor's house. Something like that. Which is why it's important to know who your network is, your support network.
I talked about the one bite at this apple and you're out of there. I had, for some reason, that popped into my head. The only asterisk to that would be if you had a partner who maybe had a mental issue or a substance abuse issue and then cleaned up their act, acknowledge their wrongdoing, literally beg for forgiveness because abuse is not tolerable, but is it, and has a track record of then staying clean, and they're different.
Don't sit around and wait and hope.
No.
Because...
And apologies after they just blackened your eye. I'm sorry, baby. That doesn't cut it.
No, not at all. In addition to your support network, you want to, that part of that is identifying any shelters in the area.
Yep.
Some of them might be able to provide some other supports, some other resources. Yep. You need to identify other places that you can stay at a moment's notice because shelters can't always get you in immediately.
If you work outside of the home, and you have a safety manager or risk manager, give them a heads up. Because if your spouse knows where your office is or where you are at work, some places are a little more relaxed, and a husband or wife come in to bring you lunch or something. We need to know not to let that person in.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to know that maybe we need to put your workstation up on the 5th floor instead of the 4th floor where your office was, because they would be able to find you. Understand, if you're in an abusive situation, ladies, you have to be almost like a movie. You have to change your parking pattern. You have to maybe go into a different entrance and exit at work. You need to vary some things, because if you leave and you have a very abusive partner, work is the only place he knows where he can find you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got to be very careful about this for your own safety and the safety of your kids.
Now, I'm not recommending that necessarily that you go watch the movie, but the movie Sleeping with the Enemy is a movie about this very thing and all of the steps that she had to go through to escape this abusive relationship. Make sure you contact local law enforcement as well. Find out about protection and restraining orders. You may or may not qualify, you may or may not actually need one, but it's good to know the information.
If you're physically assaulted by a spouse, this is universal what I'm about to say. It doesn't matter if you're the husband or wife. If you're physically assaulted by a spouse and there are witnesses or evidence, call the police and have them arrested. Because your marriage is already over, okay?
Make sure you document it if you can with photographs too.
Yes. Also, after you have them arrested, file for the restraining order. Then the arrest will normally do that. And we are talking about legit cases of abuse, because that gives you time to get the hell out of Dodge, if you so desire. So, again, no husband, no wife should lay hands like that on the other. But now, sadly, it happens all the time.
Right, and sometimes it's harder to identify when, like it's mental or emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Sometimes financial abuse is difficult to identify. If you have any questions about that whatsoever, you need to reach out to someone, the victim advocate or a counselor or somebody who can help you identify that and sort that out.
If you're thinking that this is the case, you don't want to go through this alone. You need to talk to someone. You need to reach out to, whether it's Melanie or a crisis hotline. You need to try to figure all this out. And you need to trust your gut. If your gut's telling you the next time he's going to kill you, you need to get the hell out. Because
the statistics on domestic abuse are actually very terrifying.
Yeah. And like I said, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Thinking things I can't say, so.
Okay,
yeah.
I appreciate that you're having those thoughts. So you just this is not by any means a comprehensive list of things that you need to do or think about. This is to get you started. Having someone that you can talk to about your specific situation will be incredibly helpful to identifying more steps that you can take to protect yourself and or your children.
Often I describe it as I'm a drone above the forest, and you can't see your way out when you're in the middle of it. You need someone to guide you through it sometimes. So you've got to find somebody to talk to who can give you some perspective, because they're not in the hell at the moment.
Right.
It makes it a little easier to have somebody else go, well, what about this?
Yeah.
And tell you you're not crazy. What you're going through is unacceptable.
And that's a huge one. A lot of ladies that I have spoken to feel like they are crazy. They're nuts. He can't possibly be that bad. When he's putting a tracker on your car, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's
next level. There's an issue.
Right.
You're married to a little boy.
Yeah.
That's not, it's a different thing to track your teenagers' cars because they're kids. But I think we've covered everything.
I think we've covered it. Yeah. So, man, if you want to talk about this, reach out. I am happy to talk or direct you to somewhere, whatever it is that you feel like you need. And men, if you're in this situation, reach out.
Same thing. We'll put some abuse hotline numbers down below as well and stuff in the description. Stay safe, be smart, love yourself.